Okay, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I thought I would make it back to my house on time, but because of the traffic, I was able to reach here only 10 minutes ago, 10 minutes before. So I was also hoping that I would get some time to reread the essay, but unfortunately, we will have to just, go along as we start the class. But I do hope that you all got the time to read the essay, at least the first one or two pages. So if you have read the essay, I would like to start by asking you what you thought about it. What are your, um, responses to it, if any? Also, Sonia ma'am is auditing our class. She wants to listen in. I tried to dissuade her. Telling her that this is not going to be worth much time, but she was insistent. So please welcome Sonia ma'am also to the class. She's here. Um, so yeah, let us start with what you thought about the essay, and what do you think it is about. So maybe that can be a starting point for us to get into the essay. One of the disadvantages of this online medium is that I cannot see if any of you are eager to come forward with your opinions. It is also not very feasible to call up somebody and ask if they have read the essay. So if anybody has any kind of observations to make about it, you are welcome.
Sir, it's like
Yes.
about the resistance in literature.
Yes, Ria, go on.
Yes, sir, about realism in literature and how Lukacs is saying that modern realism is not that good. We do not favor realism in literature.
Yes.
And he compares Thomas Mann and I forgot the name, sir. He compared Thomas Mann's work with Ulysses and how modernist writers merely use stylistic devices, but rather they conceal the ideology behind.
Okay. Yeah. Those are anything else you want to add on to that?
So then he also talks about how modernist writers claim that solitariness is like the basic fact of human existence,
Hmm.
and how is not the case; it's just a social case, it's particular, and it's a universal condition.
Hmm.
Then he talks about form and content of of form is it's like an intrinsic factor of content.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just got that mixed. I felt it was a little confusing there.
Yeah, it is a little bit confusing because this essay is actually a part of a long debate in which Lukács was involved. First of all, let us get his name correctly because he was a Hungarian critic, and I really don't know how his name is pronounced in Hungarian. So we can either call him Lukács, like ASH, or Lukacs, ATCH. So whatever is easier for you, you can call him Lukacs or Lukacs, whatever. Don't call him Lucas. Lucas is the director of Star Wars and George Lucas, so that is different. So I will call him Lukacs. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we can switch over to Lucas at some other point of time. Anyway, so this essay is actually a part of a whole body of work that he has produced, in which he is championing realism over all other kinds of modernist expressions. So we are actually reading this one essay out of context. Uh, in reality, this was a part of a long series of conversations that he was having with other critics, other literary theorists, and artists throughout his lifetime. So, to take something out of that and then study it by itself is really a difficult task, and that is what we are asked to do. Um, so it might be a little bit easier if we can, if we can establish some of the key ideas that he is talking about, before going into the actual detail of the essay. Um, so I thought, I would start with, you know, uh, the kind of worldview that he is championing. As a Marxist critic, he believes in, the fundamental structure of the world being in such a way that it is the means of production which determines everything. Marxism is a theory which is basically economic in character. It is about money. It is about capital. And Marxism tells us that, um, in a world which is run by capital, uh, capital has a way of creating a social structure in which people are made to serve that capitalistic interest. So you can just imagine the whole society as a factory, and we are all working towards making some product. The entire world is engaged in this relentless activity, just like a production line. We are constantly doing whatever is possible so that at the end of the day we produce something. So that that production becomes the driving force behind society. And when it is made into such a framework, people essentially become, or human beings essentially become part of this production process. So people are valued because of their labor, right? What they contribute to this production process, how they are making this production possible. And they are rewarded in terms of capital. So if you work in a factory for 1 hour, you might be paid 200 rupees or 500 rupees. So the amount of that you have put in is being evaluated and assessed, and it is given a specific monetary value. Okay. So this is different from the work that supposedly an artist does. You cannot really put a value on a poem or a painting, or you cannot really put a value on the services that a mother renders to her child. Right. So there is a certain dehumanizing tendency which is inherent in societies where capitalism is prevalent. Okay, so people are turned into a sort of a contributing element in the production process, and a consequence of this is, slowly people become stratified into various classes. So at the top, at the topmost layer of society, at the most powerful or influential layer of society, you have those who possess capital. People who have money at their disposal. They are the people who possess capital. Capital is nothing but money, or the means to generate money. So they are the ones who are driving this entire system in capitalist society. So they determine who gets paid. They determine what is the quantum of payment, what is the amount of money that you have to give to a worker. They decide the value of the work that the worker has produced. Uh, and underneath them, you have what is called the bourgeoisie, or the middle class. This is the consumerist class. They are the people who don't have enough money to control the whole production process, but they have money to buy the goods. So they are, in fact, they are the people who determine how the market functions. Because even if the people who have money, they produce a lot of goods, if nobody buys them, then the whole capitalist enterprise will not work. People invest money in the production process only because they expect to make some sort of a profit. They want to sell these products and then get something in return. So the middle class or the bourgeoisie, they are the ones who drive this kind of a consumerist process. They consume things. They have what is called disposable income. That is, they earn a little more money than is necessary for life. And using this excess money that they have, they engage in consumption. They consume things. And at the bottom of the pyramid, or the bottom of uh, the hierarchy, you have what is called the proletariat or the working class. Now these people, they are not, they don't have much by way of disposable income. What they earn is barely sufficient to continue their lives. They are not given enough money so that they can go and improve their situation, but they are given enough so that they can survive, and they can still become productive. They can still become a part of this whole production process. So this working class or the proletariat is what critics and Marxist theorists, they want to focus on, because they understand that this kind of a capitalist structure is extremely unequal. The people who have money at the top, then people who consume in the middle, and then the mass of the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, who work without getting adequate returns for what they are investing. Okay, and the entire structure is shaped like a pyramid or a triangle. The top of the triangle is very narrow. The area of the top of the triangle is very much less than the base. So the number of people who are also at the top of this hierarchy, the capitalists, they are very few in number. The number of middle classes, they are a little more, but again, the mass of people, the majority of the population exists in the base of the pyramid, which is the working class. So what Marxist theorists wanted to do is find some way in which this whole enterprise, this whole structure, this pyramidal structure can be rearranged in such a way that more or less equal distribution of wealth can be established. Wealth should not be concentrated at the top of the pyramid. It will be better if wealth is equally distributed to all sections of the population, and that will create a society which is more egalitarian, which is more equal. And that is the whole enterprise of Marxist criticism. So how do you do this? How do you change the society? The answer that Marxism puts forward is through revolution. Now, by the term revolution, we mean a lot of things. Um, you know, the oldest use of the word revolution is, a cyclical process. The earth revolves around the sun, right? It is something which is repeated again and again, right? Every year the earth starts from one position, and then 1 year later it reaches the exact same position after one complete revolution around the sun. But in Marxist thought, this word has an added meaning. Revolution is a process of complete and utter change. Right. So revolution is a process by which society as a whole is made to undergo a change, by which the existing structures are remade. They are shuffled, and they are made into a new structure. Okay. So if you have a capitalist society in which 1% of the population has 99% of the wealth, after a revolution, that proportion of wealth will be more or less equal, right? But eventually, this rearranged population will also undergo stratification. because the processes by which society is divided into stratas, this is something which cannot be completely avoided. So even after a revolution is successful in rearranging society into a more egalitarian structure, with the passage of time, once again classes will emerge, and the societal structure will once again be stratified. It will become divided into various levels, and these levels will become very rigid, meaning that one cannot transform oneself from the working class to the bourgeoisie, or from the bourgeoisie to the capitalist class. The structure will become rigid, and at this point there will be the necessity of yet another revolution. So, it is a cyclical process, just like, the initial meaning of the word revolution. It again becomes a kind of a cycle. Uh, Starting from an extremely unequal society, a revolution ushers in a more or less equal society. This more or less equal society eventually becomes unequal, and again you have the process of revolution repeating again and again. So in this structure of Marxist theory, or thought, um, where does a person like Lukács fit in? What he is telling us is that we are right now in a position where a revolution is required. Okay, so during the time period that Lukács was writing, that was a time period when capitalism was extremely powerful. That is not to say that it is not powerful now. Capitalism is still continuing as the most powerful force on the economic scene even now. But during that time, they felt that this kind of hold that capitalism has is extremely damaging to society. It is causing a lot of pain and suffering to a lot of people. So Lukács believed that it was the duty of artists, people who create culture, to generate a sort of a class consciousness in the lowest, in the working class. And why do they need to do this? What is the requirement of this? What is the need for this class consciousness? Hello, I lost the connection in the middle of that. Can you hear me now? Can somebody confirm?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So Lukash, he realized that this kind of a capitalist system is causing a lot of pain and suffering to a lot of people, and he wanted creators, artists, musicians, writers, painters, whatever, to produce works which are capable of creating a kind of a class consciousness, so that the working class will realize that they are being exploited. Okay, that is one of the problems of capitalist society. that even when you are part of the whole capitalist system, you don't realize that you are being exploited. Okay, so it is a kind of a what do you call it? It is uh, it is like being put into house arrest without actually, without, nobody is trying to tell you that you are a criminal, but you are being treated as such. Okay, so yeah, so that is what Lukacs wanted to do. Just wait 1 second while I send my son away. Okay. So my son was trying to upset the whole class structure and cause a revolution, but unfortunately he was not successful. Anyway, yeah. So raising the class consciousness and so basically, this whole essay is trying to tell writers that they need to, they need to write works which tell people of this sort of aspect of reality, that they are all, being exploited. They are put into a social system where their work is being, utilized by others, uh, and so on and so forth. And in particular, he is doing this against the modernists, because modernism as a movement, it has this tendency to focus on the individual, and it has this tendency to ignore what is greater than the individual. It doesn't look at society, it doesn't look at class, it doesn't look at the means of production or economic basis by which we are all, we are all exploited. So so that is how, he begins this essay. So if you read the first couple of paragraphs of the essay, he is asking us whether there is any sort of stylistic advantage that modernist writers have. Okay, so modernist writers, they are known primarily because they have employed a lot of literary techniques. They have developed a sort of literary language which makes their works extremely unique. So if you have a writer like James Joyce or T.S. Eliot, both of them are modernist writers. One is a poet and the other one is a novelist. But in their works, we when we are reading their works, we find that they are using a sort of diction which is very artistic, which is very finely crafted. So Lukács is asking us, do you like these works just because they are using such kinds of stylistic devices, or do they have anything, any more value to them? And if you find that value is there only if they use these kind of stylistic devices, then why don't you read realist works where the same sort of stylistic devices are there, with the added advantage that these realist works are telling you about the social exploitation that you are undergoing as part of the capitalist society. So did you get it? He is trying to tell us that, look, we as modern society, we like writers like James Joyce, we like writers like T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf, all these modernist writers, we like them very much. Do you like them just because they write in a particular way? If the answer is yes, then why don't you look at these other realist writers who are also using the same sort of tools that the modern writers are using, but unlike the modern writers, they are actually telling you about the exploitation that you are undergoing. Okay, so that is why he tries to separate content and form. Okay, he's saying that Modern writers, they lack content, they only have this form. And what does he mean by content? Content of a work is the actual, the actual, what do you call it? The part of that work which is linking you to society. That is content. And form is just the outward appearance, the external appearance of a work. So if you take a poem, any poem, the form will be the kind of rhyme scheme that the poet is using, the kind of stanza division that the poet is using, or alliteration, or any such kind of device. But the actual meaning of the poem would be the content. So he is telling us that, Lukács is telling us that, look, these modern writers, they just have the form. They are simply trying to hoodwink us. They are trying to pull the wool over our eyes. They are trying to prevent us from seeing the world as it actually is. And if you want to see the world as it actually is, go and read Thomas Mann, or Maxim Gorky, or some other realist writer, is what he is saying. Now, the question is whether, the question that we have to ask is whether Lukács is actually right or wrong. And that is something that we will take a while to answer. And it depends a lot on, whether you really think the whole, Marxist thought process is true, whether society is actually divided into these kind of classes, whether there is exploitation, whether capitalism is enslaving all of us, and all those things. So those are some of the ideas that we will take up, a little more in detail in the coming classes. Um, but yeah, we haven't really gotten into the essay yet. I thought I would, get time to at least discuss the first page, but unfortunately that did not happen. And I think whose class is this right now? 11:30.
Shujo sir.
Okay, I think he has already shared the link to you, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. So you can leave now. I will continue with this in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.